Dear viewers, April 6, 2026 may seem like just an ordinary Monday morning. But out there, hundreds of thousands of kilometers from Earth, history is being rewritten. The crew of the Artemis II mission is drawing near the moon. For the first time, humans are returning to after more than half a century, and a breathtaking moment is about to happen. Orion will suddenly disappear from all communication systems with Earth. No signal, no guidance, no remote support from NASA. The astronauts will be completely alone as they approach the moon. This flight will break the record that Apollo 13 set back in 1970. The record for the greatest distance humans have ever traveled. In addition, the Orion spacecraft will skim past the moon at a distance of only about 6,500 kilometers, close enough for the astronauts to capture spectacular images of the moon's far side, something you can never get to see from Earth. In today's video, let's admire the latest images from Artemis II and find out why the crew will lose contact with Earth. Now, let us explore. As of the time I am making this, NASA's Orion spacecraft is about 382,000 kilometers from Earth and about 52,000 kilometers from the moon. This is the latest image of the moon released by NASA. It was taken by the astronauts aboard the Orion spacecraft. At first glance, you may think it looks quite similar to the moon we usually see from Earth. But take a closer look. It is completely different. On the left side of you is the latest image sent back from the Artemis II, while on the right is an image of the moon taken from Earth. Yes, can you spot the difference between the two images? Take a close look at this area. This is the first striking detail, a privilege that only the Artemis II crew can see from space, while we cannot. This marked region is called the Oriental Basin, an area about 900 kilometers, located on the boundary between and the far side of the moon. When observing from Earth, you can hardly see this basin. But the astronauts in the Artemis II mission can witness it with their own. Scientists believe it formed about 3.85 billion years ago and is one of the youngest impact craters on the moon. So in the Artemis II mission, NASA is paying special attention to this basin. As the spacecraft flies toward the moon, it is also moving farther and farther from Earth. This image was taken through the spacecraft window, showing a tiny crescent Earth in the distance, surrounded by the darkness of space. The image was taken by an Artemis II crew member on the 4th day of the mission. And here is a zoomed-in close-up image. It gives us a completely new view of Earth. Our planet looks like a crescent moon, with only a small part of Earth illuminated, while the rest is submerged in darkness. Jeremy Hansen, the Canadian astronaut on the Artemis II mission, shared, "I know the images sent back to Earth are amazing, but I assure you, it is far more amazing out here. Indeed, in the vastness of space, humans always feel so small, and perhaps a little lonely. But if I would truly like to tell the crew that they are not alone, because from millions upon millions of people are with them." As a woman, I am proud to see Christina Koch representing women on this special crew. And in this photo, I suddenly realized that women always have the same hobby, taking selfies whether on Earth or out in space. This photo was taken by Christina Koch through one of the spacecraft's main window, facing. She took the photo with an iPhone 17 Pro Max. And here is another angle, showing Mission Commander Reed Wiseman as he looks outside through one of the main windows facing Earth, while the spacecraft is on its way to the moon. These impressive images of the moon have thrilled and delighted us, but one image has sparked a debate that perhaps even NASA did not expect. It is the panoramic photo of Earth with blue oceans, brown landmasses, and many white cloud formations, along with blue auroras at the planet's 2 poles, taken by Commander Reed Wiseman and sent back to Earth on April 3, 2026. However, the surprising thing is, many people, this photo is not as beautiful as the Earth photo, Apollo 7 mission in 1972, even though today's photography technology is far more advanced. On the left side of your screen is the 1972 Earth photo from the Apollo 17 mission, while on the right is the latest Earth photo from the Artemis II mission. Yes, truly nothing escapes the eyes of space science enthusiasts. The 1972 image really does look brighter and sharper, while the current image of Earth is blurry and noticeably paler. According to NASA, the Artemis II crew is using DSLR cameras, a Nikon D5, an iPhone 17 Pro Max, and 4 GoPro Hero 11 cameras for filming. So in your opinion, what is causing this difference? Please, Top Thuv know what you think in the comments. The crew's journey has gone relatively smoothly and favorably since liftoff on April 1, 2026. It has been a journey full of impressive, with emotions ranging from amazement to awe, passing by minute. Millions of people on Earth are waiting for the special when the Orion spacecraft loops around the moon to witness what, from Earth, we cannot observe. Below is the upcoming schedule for Artemis II. At 1:56 p.m. on April 6, 2026 Eastern Daylight Time. That is 12:56 a.m. on April 7, 2026. Vietnam time. The Artemis II crew is expected to surpass the previous record set by the Apollo 13 crew, which reached 400,171 kilometers in 1970. For the farthest distance humans have ever flown from Earth. Then at 2:45 p.m. on April 6, 2026, that is 1:45 a.m. on April 7, 2026 Vietnam time, the Artemis II crew will begin observing the moon. At 6:44 p.m. on April 6, 2026, that is 5:44 a.m. on April 7, 2026 Vietnam time, NASA's mission control on Earth will temporarily lose contact with Orion, because at that moment Earth will be behind the moon and deep space communications will be lost. About 1 minute after the loss of contact, at 6:45 p.m. on April 6, 2026, or 5:45 a.m. on April 7, 2026, Vietnam time, the Orion spacecraft will reach its closest point to the moon. At that time, it will be about 6,551 kilometers above the lunar surface. Throughout this period, Orion will remain out of contact with Earth. The astronauts will have to carry out their tasks without guidance from Earth. At 7:07 p.m. on April 6, 2026, that is 6:07 a.m. on April 7, 2026 Vietnam time, Orion will reach its farthest distance from Earth. At that time, the spacecraft will be about 406,773 kilometers from Earth, roughly 6,600 kilometers farther than Apollo 13's record, set in April 1970. About 90 minutes after Orion spacecraft reaches its maximum, the crew will have a chance to witness a spectacular, as the moon appearing much larger than we observe from Earth, will completely cover the sun. As a result, the sun will disappear from Artemis II's view for about 53 minutes, about 7 times longer than the maximum duration that can occur on Earth. Then by 7:25 p.m. on April 6, 2026, that is 6:25 a.m. on April 7, 2026 Vietnam time, Earth will reappear at the opposite edge of the moon, and communications from NASA mission control will be restored. Then Orion will begin its departure from the moon and head back to Earth. So, throughout the approach to the far side of the Artemis II crew will lose all contact with Earth for about 41 minutes. Those will be unforgettable moments for the astronaut, when there will be no one and they will be truly isolated in space. But I believe the moon's pull will make them quickly forget that, because only 4 astronauts will witness this event firsthand. If everything goes well, and according to schedule, after reconnecting with Earth, the astronauts will begin sending they captured of the Moon back to NASA. Only then will we have the chance to admire them. I myself am truly very curious to see what the far side of the Moon will look like from Artemis II's point of view. Up to now, Artemis II has completed half of its journey, and most of its objectives have been carried out as planned. However, that does not mean the astronauts have faced no obstacle. Right from the very first, the crew ran into trouble with the spacecraft's modern and worth $23 million. Just a few hours after liftoff, the crew confirmed that the toilet had malfunctioned. The toilet's ventilation fan and urine hose aboard Orion got stuck, though the issue was later resolved. The astronauts were advised to use backup bags. By late April 3, 2026, the crew reported smelling a burning odor from the toilet. If we notice a burning smell in our homes, it signals that something has burned. So clearly, something must have happened to the toilet. On the Orion spacecraft, astronaut Koch described it. It smelled like a burnt heater. However, Mission Control on the ground believed the unpleasant smell may have been caused by the Orion around the toilet door. They reassured the crew that overall, there were no major concerns. It was not until midnight on April 4, 2026, that NASA's ground control team finally fixed the issue and announced, "Breaking news, you may now use the toilet for all necessary needs." After receiving the message, Christina Koch replied, "The crew is very happy, thank you." Thank you for watching today's video. Yen will keep trying to update the latest images on the. Please subscribe to the channel and turn on so you do not miss other exciting and interesting videos. For now, goodbye and see you again.